you, for the first time, the graduates of Jericho's High School, class of 2021.
On June 15th, I graduated high school. I'm leaving a place that I had called home for more than 7 years of my life. High school contained many ups and downs, and I wanted to take the time to reflect on all my mistakes and all my successes over the years.
And although this wave is stringing us along, just know you're not.
So with so many memories and experiences, let's just start from the beginning. Coming into high school, all I could think about was making our school's badminton team. I was devastated when I didn't make the team, but life went on. I felt a lot of classes were boring and I didn't have very many friends in them. I felt lost, I felt alone, and I felt like I had to find myself. I was able to fill this emptiness by exploring a creative side of me that I really never had before. I started doing photography. I had this small camera that I would bring around everywhere and take pictures of things I thought were cool. And I will admit, those pictures were really shitty, but I liked taking them. Around wintertime, I joined the swim team, and although I'm not that fast, I enjoyed being part of something bigger than myself, and I wanted to pull my weight on the team any way I could. That was the first year I did a senior poster, and being the ambitious person that I was, I started a trend of these digitally made posters. That summer I lived at my cousin's house for the most part, wanting to be more independent. Some days I would be working out with my cousin at the gym, and others I would be going to the city to take pictures. I spent hours scouting for locations, and even more time getting the shots that I wanted from there. Towards the end of summer, I got the opportunity to watch a showing of a series by Wong Fu Production where I got to meet the cast, which was a very surreal experience. I actually remember seeing the Fun Bros earlier that summer, but I was too nervous to say hi and regret it every day since, but I was given the chance to meet them at this event. Sophomore year, I came back to badminton tryouts more motivated than ever, and I did it. I made the badminton team, and they became the closest thing I had to a second family. Being surrounded by greatness inspired me to always give my all during practices. And even if I was playing against first singles, I would just keep playing my best and I was happy. Right after badminton season, my swim season kicked off, and I was back to training. Swimming was a different beast than badminton, in that practices were not supposed to be fun. They were supposed to be physically and mentally challenging. I found myself just thinking about life and practices would go by. Before I knew it, the season ended and I lost a lot of weight from swimming. I once again continued my elevated poster designs, and the reaction of the senior made the hours of making the poster worth it. Around November, I bought an A7 III. It was the biggest investment I had ever made. I wanted to take my photography to a new level, and I felt this was the best path for me. I started taking a lot more pictures and developing my own style. All I had really done before was street photography, but now I felt more inclined to go out of my comfort zone and try out different forms.
You want to be a dreamer. You want to go out there and do big things, do the unimaginable, to have that big wow factor. Well, it's not easy. It takes guts.
After swim season, I joined track, which wasn't really memorable, but soon enough my sophomore year came to an end. As you can see, I went to Japan during this time and got to take some pictures over there. Overall, I had a pretty good sophomore year experience, even at a time when I started to have the pressure of SATs and APs.
And the hustle to build something amazing, to work towards something, to be known for something, at least more than just your name.
Summer of sophomore year, I studied a lot for the SAT, but for 1 week, I got the chance to go to the New York Film Academy photography camp. And it had been one of the first times I've ever taken a class on photography. It gave me the chance to work in the studio and learn from professionals. But more importantly, it gave me the opportunity to meet other students that shared the same passion as I do.
The reason I still have that drive, this feeling, this thought, and this drive, and the fear of...
Always silence my phone, I keep my sins on the low. I like to
After that camp, I got the chance to do something I've always wanted to do, build a computer. It felt like a milestone I never got to achieve as a tech head. The computer was named Haiti, and it had its fair share of problems, but I was so amazed by what I accomplished that I didn't care, although it did come back to bite me later.
I can go, every direction seems to stretch out to no end. No, I could wait for all my life.
Junior year of badminton. There's nothing else I can say besides everything lined up perfectly. I got paired with a partner who I knew always got my back, and I never had more fun playing badminton. The season was tougher than it had been in the past year, and I knew I had to get better in order to pull my weight on the team. GNS was always our greatest rival, and this year they made us work for our county title. But at the end of the day, badminton is a game of heart, and we wanted the title more, and it showed in the way we played and fought for the win. Towards the end of badminton season, I joined a robotics team, and it was nothing short of chaotic. I didn't know what I was doing, and even worse, I didn't know who was on my team for several weeks. Everything that was done before the first competition was done with no guidance or direction, and even though we were able to pull through the week before the competition, it wasn't enough. The night before the first competition was the first time I had ever pulled an all-nighter. All we wanted was a robot that could move, which turned out to be more difficult than we realized. I remember we were so behind, I had to use block code for that competition. Even after the first competition, nothing got easier. My team was still all over the place, with opposing ideas and busy schedules. That paired with our inexperience meant all odds were stacked against us. But I didn't quit, I still had hope. Once the badminton season ended, swim season came around, and with robotics season getting more intense, I didn't know if I could take on both, but I did it anyways, and I had to suffer through it. I averaged about 3 hours of sleep per night during those 3 months, and I even got the flu for a week. I still came to school, went to practice, and worked on my robot, which honestly was one of the hardest things I've ever done, and looking back, it was not really that smart. All this hard work paid off for me, as I got all my best times that season in the 100 free and 100 fly. It took a bit of work after the swim season ended for my bot to start showing some results, but we eventually got the bot to have some functionality. And now that swim season ended, I put all my efforts into robotics, and that's when our luck started turning around. We only had 2 competitions left in order to qualify for the state competition. With a little bit of luck and energy drinks, we were able to place pretty high in qualifications, and ended up getting an excellence award in one competition and getting into the semifinals in the other, both of which qualified us for the state competition. Heading into states, we were more motivated than ever, and we had high hopes, but it seemed our luck ran out. I misjudged the competition and focused on our robot's autonomous rather than practicing driver control, which is pretty important since we had changed the weight distribution and speed of the robot since the last competition. We were also met with a lot of technical issues, and we ended up not even getting past qualifications. Honestly, I could not have asked for a better team that season. Everyone had the same drive to succeed, and that's what got us so far. The season didn't end the way we hoped, but it only made me focus on what I was going to do for the next season. I had a perfect team lined up, as well as an alliance team, and even mentors. We had a couple of meetings discussing the new game and plans for the next season, even before the school year would start. But a week after states, school shut down and COVID came, and it took a pretty big hit on my plans. In a matter of a week, I went from working on robotics for 30 hours a week plus school to none of that, and I was left with a bunch of free time that I didn't know what to do with. Eventually, I decided to learn how to code on my own, and I started to learn Python. I made a cloud server with a Raspberry Pi, and I solved a lot of Project Euler problems. I also really got into table tennis and chess that summer, which also helped at the time. Even with all my newfound hobbies, I was still left with a good bit of time, and I used a lot of it to reflect. All I could think about was all the missed opportunities I had because of my fear of failure, and I was mad at myself. I realized that junior year took a toll on my mental health, and I had to spend this time that was given to me to live with my mistakes and move on from them. Towards the end of summer, some of my close friends decided to start playing basketball with each other, as we stayed quarantined for months and felt it was safe enough to do so. And it was fun. It let me take my mind off things, and it also helped me get back into shape. But something happened during a game, and I ended up with a back injury, and I tried to play the pain off like it wasn't anything serious, but weeks passed, and it had only gotten worse to the point where I needed a back brace to help me walk. I went to get an x-ray and it showed up fine, which was good, but also bad as I didn't know what was wrong with me or what my recovery time would be. When school started, we had the option of going in school every other day or to stay online every day. And I went to try going into school, but I only went for 1 to 2 weeks before I couldn't handle it because of my back pain, and I decided to stay home. COVID also restricted any activities that the school would normally have, and Vex wasn't going to run. I had already seen it coming, but it still hurt. When things were finally under my control, I don't even get the chance to prove myself and compete in my final year. I was left to reminisce of the only season I had and the season that never was. In October, my back gradually stopped hurting, and around this time I also did a photo shoot, which was cool since I haven't done photography in a while, and it was nice to get back into it. Other than that, months of school breezed by and COVID got better, allowing sports to run. That time I spent recovering from my injury didn't do any good for my swimming. I wasn't hitting any of the times I hit last year. Even so, I ended up swimming 2 individual events during divisions, which was my last time in the pool. Building up to it, I was extremely nervous but determined to get some season best times. I was happy with my results at the end as I dropped a good amount of time, and that ended my swimming career very nicely. It also was nice to not have to make a senior poster for once. College decisions. I was going to make a video of my reactions, but after recording them I realized I didn't have much of a reaction. The whole experience was honestly filled with a lot of disappointment and confusion. Applications were a gamble this year as a lot of schools went test optional. I did get some pretty good choices and a couple scholarships, but I ended up choosing a route I think I liked the most, which was going to Stony Brook with a guaranteed transfer to Georgia Tech. After swimming, badminton came and I was excited. I was going in with that high expectation and wanted to leave the team off with a good note. Complications happened with the team and I ended up in a worse position than last year, and I only had myself to blame for it. I just felt like I could be doing more for the team, but I was stuck. Just when I started to straighten things out, tragedy struck again. It turned out that the combination of competitively swimming after a 2-month recovery paired with my aggressive playing style in badminton took a toll on my arm, and one day in practice it decided to give up on me. My season ended that day. Badminton was still my family though. I didn't get what I hoped for, but I couldn't turn my back to the sport that had given me so many good memories and friends. The team lost to GNS in our first few encounters, but at the end our team pulled through and defended our county title. Out of all the teams I was part of in high school, none of them came close to the bonds we shared. Even when the season is over, our love for badminton keeps us all in touch, and I know they'll always have my back, even as I move on from Jericho. Standing there by my side, and now you gon' be with me for the last ride. It's been a long day without you, my friend. With the end of the boys season, I wasn't quite ready to be done with badminton in Jericho yet, so I became a manager for the girls team. My arm was still not healed, but I still continued playing to help the team as much as I could in my final days at Jericho. Even with my handicap, the other managers and girls were still willing to play against me, and I'm very grateful for that. This opportunity to help out the team one last time just reaffirmed that I wanted to continue my badminton journey throughout college, no matter where I end up. course, I can't forget to talk about the senior experience of prom and graduation. I actually built up the courage to ask someone to prom, which I would have never thought of doing even a year ago. Prom itself was a nice way to catch up with a lot of my friends, and I ended up having a pretty good night, but it was extremely exhausting and probably wasn't worth the amount of money we paid for it. Graduation. Long, cold, but freeing. It marked the milestone of completing high school. I still don't think it's synced in yet that this chapter of my life is over, and I'm starting a new one pretty soon. I did record a couple clips from it, so here it is. Yeah.
Are you still in work?
You're recording?
Yeah. Yes, sir. Okay.
Just hung another list of my goals. I'd rather die than be lazy. Gotta treat every second of my life on earth like it's valuable. Fuck what it pays me. I don't wanna live my life safely, but I don't think the people that I work with seem to understand that every time I come up in the office that the motherfucking gun up in my pockets off safety. I need to go to the beach and relax, take a nice warm sun shower. Congratulations, you got off work. Now you gotta deal with the rush hour. Who the hell lied to society?
All right.
That this is right.
Came to school. Take some pictures. Here we have Dong Wong.
Not trying to like so hard, so should be wearing sure.
Urban Studies.
Urban Studies. I was in a video. It's a vlog. Is it that's what's up, guys? We have this issue. I'll wait.
Gary.
I'm in the vlog. Let's go.
Yo, Jason.
Looking forward to them saying your full name at the ceremony.
They better not say my full name.
Matt. What's up, guys? We're graduating. Well, everyone except Steven is graduating.
You know what, Steven? At least I can see over the crowd, bro.
Oh, you moving to That's a lot of people. Look at that. Look at the sheer amount of people. And look at this man. What a scholar. Oh my goodness.
Scholar who's not graduating.
Goodness me.
I don't think he's here yet.
Yeah, so we're just chilling, waiting until the actual.
Don't make me do it. Don't make me do it.
Why didn't you get the mic?
Thank you. Yo, Peter. What's up, bro? The main attraction. The main attraction today, Donald Giroux. All right, everybody's lined up.
Kids, get ready. Get ready, kids. We're gonna follow.
Let's go. Go. Celebrating our graduation.
You have to learn to pick it that it is.